Have you ever watched horses free jumping in a chute?
Yeah.
You know, you make a chute, and then you, like if that's the outside wall, and then this rail here would be like standards, you know, and then in there you'd put a fence and you'd chase the horse down the chute. You don't see a horse get in wrong too much when he does it on his own. Most horses will canter down, and after a while they get kind of canny. They either shorten or lengthen. They sort of figure out what they need to do to get to the right takeoff point. And let's come over here for a minute. Let's say you're coming on a right lead canter around the end, and you're cantering down to this bend, and just by bad luck, the last full stride ends here. Right? Now you know he's either going to take a wicked launch, and we call that jumping long and flat, or more likely he's going to chip. And chip means what? Take a little short stride and not normal stride. And the chip is going to put in here. And or let's say your last full stride ends where a chip would put it. In either case, either you get him long and he launches, or long and he chips, or you get him to this short space. Now you put him in a situation where it's very hard for him to jump this jump. He might get over this, it's tiny, but if it were a bigger jump, he's either going to stop, he's going to jump through the rail, or he's going to do a very awkward sort of up, across, and bam, you know, flat-footed landing, right? We call that a helicopter jump. Have you ever heard that saying? Straight up, across, and straight down. So you'd like to not have the horse have his last stride end there, or his last stride end here. You'd like his last stride end there. And the people that can consistently get their horse to do that, we say they have a good what? Eye, right? You've heard that phrase. Or they can see their spot. Or they always get in right? He always gets in right, or he always gets to the right takeoff point, or he always sees his distance, or he always sees his spot. And people that don't have a good eye, you know, one straddle in there, one straddle in there, the next straddle in here, the next straddle in there, the next, you know, it's random, right? Because they just canter down, and whatever happens, happens, and then the horse has to struggle with the bad distance. And what do we mean by a bad distance? Any distance that the horse has to struggle with, right? In other words, let's say the horse is perfectly capable of jumping this height if he gets to, say, here. But it's much harder for him to jump that if he gets there, and it's much harder if he gets there. So people say, okay, how do you get a good eye? And I've heard all kinds of answers to this question. One of the ones that you don't want to listen to because it's wrong is you don't get a good eye, you're either what? Born with a good eye, or you're not, right? And if you can't see your distance, tough luck for you. Well, I think probably there are some people like Ted Williams, they said, you know, the baseball player, they said could see the stitches on a fastball. I think there are some people that have such binocular vision they can just tell if they're long or short. But I think most people can't tell. For most people, getting a good eye is very closely connected with being able to get a good canter. All right, and let's discuss that, because this, to me, comes down to where the rubber meets the road. All right, you're cantering along, and that yellow thing is the jump. There are canters, or let's say I'm coming to this thing, off the turn here, I'm coming to this thing. There are canters that are up and light and still going forward. Right? That's a good canter because the horse is balanced so that if you need to shorten him a little bit, he's easy to shorten. But he's going so that if you need to lengthen the stride, he's right ready to what? Go. Because the saying is there's only three things, if you can see the distance, there's only three things you can do to get in right. You can lengthen the stride to get to the right takeoff point. You can or you can stay in the stride you already got. In other words, you're already perfect, or you're a little long, which means you've got to what? Yep, or go forward. Or you're a little short, which means you're going to get short. You're going to land short, which means you've got to bring him back from it. So you've got to have a canter that allows you to either stay the same, lengthen the stride, or shorten the stride. Now, let's just think through from your own experience. If you are lumbering along on a kind of stride, how quickly does the average horse lengthen out of that if you see that you need to? Move up from that. Do they do it easily? Do you find if you're in a lopey stride and suddenly you need to go boom boom, is it going to happen? No, it isn't, is it? Right? By the time it gets from your leg to the horse's brain to his hind leg, it's too late. Right? You've already missed your distance. Right? In other words, so going from a dead canter to a forward canter usually is not a good option. All right. Now let's say you're coming in an attack canter. But aggressive and forehandy and lugging. And you see that you're going to get too close. And you want to sit up and half halt. Is that likely to happen very well? If he's really digging at the jump? Right? Because he's not going to what? Listen to your half halt, is he? Right? So that isn't a good canter. Okay, come on in a little closer. I don't want to yell over the roar. So a lopey canter with not much impulsion isn't a good canter, right? Even if it feels light. And an aggressive forward canter isn't a good canter because you can't shorten it. What kind of canter allows you to have the option of going forward or coming back?
I'm going on a tour if I'm not back in about 20 minutes. I'm stuck somewhere and I won't get a cell phone. I'll just pick up faster.
Okay.
I'm yelling about crossroads. Okay.
Here's the answer that Jack Goff used to give. He said you have to have a canter that has the right balance and impulsion. And here's the tricky part. It's easy enough to get impulsion. What is impulsion? You need to know these terms. What does impulsion mean to you, Andy?
The act of stepping under and lifting.
Yeah, but positive, no, that's engagement.
Power
Impulsion.
without
The pushing.
Vroom, right?
power without speed.
Power forward, power forward, power forward. With speed or without speed, power forward. That's impulsion. Vroom. Okay, what's balance? The feeling that the horse is what? Up and light, right? Lifted. Okay. You can get impulsion pretty easily if you don't care about balance. Explain to me.
They'll just be running forward.
They're running, but they're very
Flat.
flat. Okay? So that isn't good enough, is it? That canter isn't good enough to jump from, to make adjustments. Okay? Or you can put a stronger bit in their mouth and sort of nip, nip, nip and take away the impulsion, and now they're light, but what have you killed? Right? So now you've got a canter that has what? Balance, but no. Or you have a canter that has what? Impulsion, but no balance. Right? Either one of those alone is sort of easy to get. What's the hard canter to get?
A happy medium.
Yes, exactly. A happy medium. A canter that gives you what? Instantly available impulsion if you need to move where? Forward. And instantly available balance if you need to shorten, move backwards. Right? And that's what will give you fits. And why will it give you fits? Because most horses can't do it very well. And because they can't do it very well, you probably haven't experienced it very much. And if you haven't thought about trying to develop this kind of canter, you probably haven't spent a lot of time working on it. Right? Okay, so a canter, a good show jumping canter, is a canter that is you're cantering along and you're coming to this fence and you see that you need to move up, and you close your leg, boom, the horse moves up, or that you see you're going to get too short, and you sit up and you half out, the horse shortens, though that's the canter that you want. When you can get that kind of canter, you are on your way to developing a good eye for a distance.